Lanzamiento 7 años Laudato Si, hermanas terciarias capuchinas, laicos amigonianos y laicos que comparten nuestra misión.
Celebremos el tiempo de la creación, escuchando y respondiendo al grito de la Madre Tierra y de los pobres.
Soy agua. Para los humanos, simplemente estoy ahí. Soy algo que dan por seguro. Pero no soy infinita. Y ellos cada día son más y más. Empiezo como lluvia en las montañas, fluyo hasta los ríos y los arroyos y termino en el océano. Luego el ciclo vuelve a empezar. Y tardaré 10.000 años en volver al estado en el que estoy ahora. Pero para los humanos solo soy agua. Simplemente estoy ahí. ¿Dónde me encontrarán los humanos cuando sean billones? ¿Dónde se encontrarán ellos? ¿Habrá guerras por mí? Igual que las hay por todo lo demás. Eso siempre es una opción, pero no es la única opción.
At 1 mile, I wish my day could start like yours. On a gentle walk to school and later to a shopping mall. A party or a local park. At 2 miles, I contemplate what it's like at your place. To turn a tap and see the flow of water for a clean of teeth, a drink, a shower, and a wash of clothes. At 3 miles, I think of you. Perhaps you're in a swimming pool or eating at a restaurant with water bottles on your table. At 4 miles, I ask myself whether you ever given idle thoughts about my trek through scorching heat. To the spring, the riverbank, a muddy hole where I collect the dirty water I must drink. I start the 4-mile journey home. A full container on my back. Sometimes I daydream about other children in other countries far away from here. I wonder what the distance is of their daily water walk.
Alabado seas, Señor, por el agua potable y limpia que sustenta la vida humana y los ecosistemas terrestres y acuáticos. Cuánto bien y cuánta sabiduría has puesto en el agua en todos sus estados, en el hielo de la Antártida, en el vapor de la atmósfera o la lluvia que renueva los mares y ríos. Alabado seas por las fuentes de agua dulce que producen fruto en los campos y abastecen las casas de pueblos y ciudades. Perdona nuestra falta de conciencia y nuestro derroche, olvidando a quienes sufren la sequía o la enfermedad por el agua contaminada. Que nuestros hábitos no priven a nadie del derecho al agua y se unan en todo el mundo las fuerzas para saldar la deuda social con los pobres que no tienen acceso a ella.
Look up. There I am. I am the sky. I am a warm, protective blanket wrapped around everyone on Earth. I can bring clouds, rain, and wind. I can be an ice storm. Without me, you'd fry. Every day, I am the breath you take in. Yet you are making me sick. I am congested, off balance, polluted. You see, I am more delicate than you think. It took millions of years to get it just right. My perfect mix of gases, temperature, and weather that you enjoy. But now your cars, your factories, and dust, they have pushed me past the limit. And you wonder why my typhoons and tornadoes are more intense, more frequent. I have become unpredictable. Less rain here, a lot more rain there. Hotter summers, colder winters. I cannot even control myself anymore. Enough about me. I will show my changing self to you in your days ahead. But in the end, I'll be fine. Give me a few thousand years. I have weathered trauma before. I am not worried for myself. Look up.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of Super Typhoon Haiyan. I'm Monita Rajpal live at CNN Hong Kong, where we are tracking the path of this monster storm as it roars across the central Philippines.
So we're looking to see what happens now. Families evacuated from emergency shelters in the last 2 days to take coverage in stronger shelters, but there are still tremors going on in Bohol occasionally, and there's still a lot of fear. So the typhoon is one on top of the other.
My country is being tested by this hailstorm called Super Typhoon Haiyan. We remain uncertain as to the full extent of the damage and devastation as information trickles in agonizingly slow manner because power lines and communication lines have been cut off and may take a while before they are restored.
From the air, parts of Tacloban underwater. The airport flattened, the roof demolished. Commercial flights to evacuate impossible.
We don't have homes. We need shelter, food, light.
We don't have everything. We don't have houses. Locals fled to the airport, desperate to escape. The military giving parents with the youngest victims priority.
Tacloban has been flattened. This is the town's high street. In the air, the stench of death. We saw dozens of bodies rotting by the roadside. 3 days after the typhoon struck, and nobody to bury them. Among the debris at the city's airport, a makeshift hospital. Many of the patients being treated without anesthetics.
Alabado seas, mi Señor, por el hermano viento y por el aire, y la nube, y el cielo sereno, y todo tiempo. Por tu palabra fueron hechos los cielos, y en tu proyecto de amor nos diste el aire que nos rodea. Perdónanos porque hemos perdido la gratuidad que nos lleva a amar y a aceptar el viento, el sol o las nubes, aunque no se sometan a nuestro control. Con la industrialización y el desarrollo, no hemos sabido leer el libro de la naturaleza, único e indivisible. Alienta en nosotros el sentimiento de que nos necesitamos unos a otros, de que el clima es un bien común, de todos y para todos, que solo se mantendrá en equilibrio si cambiamos nuestros estilos de vida, de producción y de consumo. Que no haya fronteras ni obstáculos políticos o sociales que nos permitan aislarnos y que no haya espacio para la globalización de la indiferencia.
I am coral. Some people think I'm just a rock, when in fact I'm the largest thing alive on this planet. I'm so big I can be seen from space. But for how long? I grew for almost 250 million years. Then humans came along and now 1/5 of me is gone. Sure, I live at the bottom of the sea, and you might not see me that often. But you do need me. Do you realize that 1/4 of all marine life depends on me? I am the nursery of the sea. Little fish depend on me for food and to hide from the big fish. And guess who eats the big fish? That's right, you do. I'm the protein factory for the world. Yet you raise the temperature of the ocean, so I can't live here anymore. And when big storms and tsunamis barrel through the ocean, I'm your fortress. Yet you tear me apart with dynamite and poison me with cyanide. Well, here's a crazy thought. Stop killing me.
The ocean is becoming a dumpster. There are now 5.2 trillion bits of plastic in the sea. How is this happening? Well, for half of all people on Earth, no government collects their trash. That is the case in much of Asia, especially places like Indonesia. In recent decades, its population has boomed, and its economy has too. So now, even poor people can afford stuff like nice shampoo and throwaway diapers. Ideally, their junk gets hauled off to a mountain-sized landfill. But a lot of it never gets collected by anyone. See, governments can't keep up. They just don't have enough garbage trucks. So trash just piles up on the ground, or people get so desperate they use their local river as a garbage dump. Yes, these are rivers. And all this will flow into the sea. This helps explain why Asia is the top source of plastic pouring into the ocean. But of course, a lot of this junk is churned out by Western corporations. In Asia, they make big profits, selling stuff in tiny, cheap pouches that poor people can afford. But that just creates more plastic junk that washes into the sea. There, it floats around for centuries, oozing chemicals, poisons that make fish and humans sick. And if we keep this up, well, by 2050, we'll have more plastic in the sea than fish.
Oh Virgen, por cuya bendición queda bendecida toda la naturaleza. Madre de Jesús, por quien todo fue salvado y recreado, tú que comprendes el sentido de las cosas, ayúdanos a mirar nuestro mundo con ojos más sabios. Estamos convirtiendo el maravilloso mundo marino en cementerios subacuáticos despojados de vida y de color. Enséñanos a contemplar el mundo desde dentro. Haznos conscientes de nuestras acciones para que movilicemos un cuidado generoso y lleno de ternura por todas las criaturas. Madre y Reina de todo lo creado, protégenos del dominio irresponsable.
Soy la Amazonía, el bosque lluvioso tropical más grande del mundo. Traigo la lluvia cuando tú la necesitas. Mantengo el equilibrio del clima. Mis bosques albergan plantas que alivian tus males. Muchas que aún ni siquiera has descubierto. Pero me lo estás quitando todo. Cada segundo cortas uno de mis árboles. Contaminas mis ríos y prendes mi suelo con fuego. Ya no puedo proteger a las personas que aquí habitan. Cuanto más me quitas, menos tengo para ofrecerte. Menos agua, menos plantas que curan, menos oxígeno. Si yo muero, tú morirás conmigo, pero yo creceré de nuevo.
Wawa are a tiny band of just 120 indigenous people in the Amazon rainforest. Today their future hangs in the balance. They're making an ink that's used as a war paint. They feel the new government of Brazil is against them and that they have to be on guard. So they're patrolling what's meant to be a protected reserve. But more and more they're discovering incursions. This track was carved through the trees to steal timber or create new farms. The forest is their home, where they gather food and hunt. They were seen by previous governments as guardians of these places. Now they believe invaders are being encouraged by the new president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro.
Com a chegada do Bolsonaro, ele quer tirar, né, o território que é sagrado para nós, por causa que ele fala que a gente não vive dela, né? Só que não é muito não que ele fala, né? Quando a gente escuta que ele fala, né? Que é mal da gente, falando que é o filho da gente, ele fala por que ele falando mal da gente. Aí a gente fica triste, né?
Farmers are already pressing against the dark green edge of the reserve, and the president says they should be allowed to use it, that indigenous people have too much land. Our research with satellite pictures of the region reveals over the past 20 years how quickly trees can be wiped out. So this is the forest of the Uru-Ewawa. I show the people of the reserve the view from space of what they're experiencing on the ground. With all this farmland all around you, and you're about there, just in that little corner. This man has dark memories of the first violent contacts with the outside world in the middle of the last century. His wife Bareha was wounded as a young girl. An attack left her with scars and killed her family. There's a long history of conflict over land, and she says she's now worried once more. Shots were fired at the sign marking the edge of the reserve. These farmers live just down the road. They're completely open about wanting access to the forest. And like the president, they feel indigenous people have too much of it.
E para que isso tudo aí, esse monte de mata em pé aí, essas proteção ambiental, para que isso? Sendo que tem muita gente que precisa de um alqueire de terra. Gente, se me desse um alqueire de terra ali, eu ficaria satisfeita, né não, Davi? Entendeu? Um alqueire de terra eu ficaria satisfeita. E eles não dão, entendeu? A gente não tem nada. Que a gente tem direito nessas terras.
Señor, nos unimos al clamor de los pueblos indígenas, ribereños y afrodescendientes. La naturaleza devastada grita al unísono con ellos, reclamando con urgencia justicia y fraternidad. ¿Cómo sanar tanto daño? ¿Cómo recomponer esas vidas desarraigadas? Que tu Espíritu Sanador nos ayude a salir de nuestra idea de calidad de vida, del consumismo y la avaricia que nos ciega, y a recuperar el buen vivir y el sentido comunitario. María, Madre de la Vida, pide a Jesús que derrame todo su amor en los hombres y en las mujeres que habitan en la Amazonía, para que sepan admirarla y cuidarla. Toca la sensibilidad de los poderosos, porque aunque sentimos que ya es tarde, nos llamas a salvar lo que todavía vive. María, reina tú en la Amazonía, junto con tu Hijo, para que nadie más se sienta dueño de la obra de Dios.